Greetings, everyone. This is Brock from Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. As we've already covered this week's Marvel books, it's time to move on to their distinguished competition, DC. Kicking things off with the final issue of The Plunge. Where we'd left off, the remaining crew of the McCree had basically been forced into a situation that was, well, to say the least, terrible. And well, they were pretty much tasked with helping the creatures inhabiting the bodies of the crew of the long lost Derleth. So we begin with most of the crew tied to posts, or chained to posts actually, as the tide comes in. While Mariah is underwater trying to free the child that's locked away at the bottom of the body of water they're at. So those who are possessed make their way as it opens, and as they enter the water, the creatures inhabiting their bodies make their way out. When they arrive at the hatch, well, it awakens the child, as they call it. Meanwhile, a Russian sub has come along, having detected some interesting, having thought of some interesting readings in the area. And the captain calls to the crew of the McCready. However, before the crew can respond, the child promptly picks up the sub and consumes everything aboard. Captain Carter is promptly freed, but however he goes to free his brother, only to discover that it's too late and his brother is drowned. Meanwhile, Lacombe, with ingot in hand, attempts to run. However, he does get knocked down by I'm not entirely sure what it is that Gage throws at him, but he hits Lacombe and knocks him out, smacks him around with a rock, and then comes up with a plan. As the child seemingly begins to rip reality apart. So Gage, like I said, Gage comes with a plan. Take the ingot, show it to the child. The child has tons of eyes, after all. And as Lacombe said, anyone with eyes would kill their own brother to get the ingot. So Gage is counting on this. Makes it explosive. Gets the ingot from Lacombe, puts on a wetsuit, and then and also grabs a flare. Shows the ingot to the child and heads underwater with it, and the flare and the explosive, and gets back to the hatch as the child follows him in. And then his makeshift bomb goes off, destroying the hatch and the child and Gage. While Lacombe stays on the island, he ends up with a cut on his finger, looking at it and figures that his day could get any worse. while Mariah and I can never remember, and the other survivor from the crew make their way as close to civilization as they can get on the small boat they've got. However, in the end, we see that Lacombe may have been possessed after all. And that by what appears to be the one surviving worm. And that is where the issue and the series ends. Which brings us to Legion of Superheroes, number 8. Where we left off, after a talk with Madam Honor President Brand of the United Planets, the Legion was attacked by the ruler of the planet Rimbor, who had just recently withdrawn from the United Planets. And the Legion had voted his son, Ultra Boy, in to be the new leader. But however, Ultra Boy's father has decided that to place the Legion under arrest and declare them being held under Rimbor law. And so we start off. This is an odd issue. It's largely being narrated by Chameleon Boy, as him and Madam Honor President, his mother, go over various Legion auditions. We get the audition of Element Lad, Dream Girl, I think Sensor Girl. We also get another look at the fight between the Legion and the Rimbor and Rimbor and his guard. However, while Lightning Lass does manage to get a good shot against the Lord of Rimbor, the blast gets redirected to her, and she's seemingly knocked out. So Wildfire comes in, unloads on him, and is then promptly absorbed into some weird energy canister. So Dawnstar goes after him. Then Mon-El goes after him and gets promptly knocked across the city, only to be caught by Superboy. And you get more of the idea that, yeah, Mon-El has some issues with Superboy. They then see Block facing off with another member of the Rimbor Guard. Saturn Girl contacts the Legion and suggests that the smart thing for them to do is surrender and let the United Planets handle it. Of course, just as that's being said, Timberwolf goes up against one of the elite guard of the ruler of Rimbor, the Parliament of Rimbor. We also learn a bit about Timberwolf's past, and the order of his powers, illegal experiments performed upon him by his father when he was a child. Yeah, he's not too keen on the idea of surrendering. Let's see, Colossal Boy, Element Lad, Dawnstar, and Wildfire also doing what they can to stop the Rimborians, with Colossal Boy explaining that actually, his colossal size is normal for him. He shrinks down to be in proportion to everyone else. Also, Dawnstar has managed to free Wildfire. Elsewhere, Cosmic Boy is talking to his father because he's a little put out that he got voted out of the leadership position. But his dad, and he's saying he's going to quit the Legion and go back home. But his dad says, no, you can't run from first adversity. You got to stand up for yourself. And, Buddy gets cut off, and Brainiac gets into his head and explains that they're under attack. And so Cosmo's like, okay, yeah, I'm on this. Meanwhile, Brainiac is trying to figure out what is in his lab, trying to get an idea what to do while helping with some assistance from Computo. Then we see a Pharaoh lad going after Krav, or General Krav. That's the guy. That's the ruler of Rimbor's name. And caused a rather large explosion. The Parliament grabbed General Krav and retreated. So Brand suggests that now that probably the Legion should surrender. Then, however, Rose talks to her and kind of isn't exactly diplomatic about things, telling Madame Honor President she needs to keep the United Planets on a leash. Basically saying you need to lead. And so Brand asks where Rose Force is from, and to which Rose responds, she finally asks, she's from Earth. And adding that she's, over 1,000 years old. And the Legion is being informed they're going to trial. However, Phantom Girl is the one who passes this along to everyone, including Mon-El. It turns out her and Mon-El were coupling, and he breaks up with her. Then, as he flies off, Mon-El realizes he could have done better, and then, but Superboy catches up with him and straight up and realizes, okay, this guy, he's named Mon-El. So, he asked Mon-El, who are you to me? And Mon-El explains that he is John Kent's great-great-great-great-great-grandchild from New Krypton. Saturn Girl contacts the two of them and tells them to get to the Mooney teleport immediately as the trial of Legion Superheroes is about to begin. Though this surprises John because, trials don't, let's be honest, trials rarely start that quickly in the modern era. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to probably one of the books I anticipated more than any other this week. Something I've been looking, and honestly what I've been looking forward to for some time. Batman, The Three Jokers, Book 1. So, a little bit of backstory here. During, I believe it was the Dark Side War, I think, which was way back in the waning days of the New 52, if I remember correctly. The members of the Justice League were imbued with power on scale with the new gods. In Batman's case, he got the Mobius chair, which usually is occupied by the new god Metron. Batman became the god of knowledge, and so he to test its knowledge, he asked it some questions. Of course, usually questions he already knew the answer to, and then he finally decided to ask it one he did not know the answer to. What is the Joker's real name? To which, and for initially the response was not. We weren't told what the response was. Only that Batman didn't think it was possible. In Rebirth, this was picked up on, and we learned what it was that the Mobius chair told him. There are 3 Jokers. And that's been kind of a running question. Okay, if there are 3, what's the deal there? Also, nifty little thing. Got this with it. So, the 3 Jokers. We begin. Batman's making his way home. Yeah, it doesn't. His driving is affected by his injuries, and he knocks over his parents' marker. And then Alfred tends to his wounds in the Batcave, and we get kind of an inventory of some of his various scars, including being stabbed in the side by the Penguin with an umbrella, having his back broken by Bane, being burned by a red-hot question mark cane, 3 scratches across his chest from Catwoman from back when they first met, being bitten by Killer Croc, stabbed by Scarecrow, shot by Joker, burned with acid by Joker, cut with a razor playing card by Joker, stabbed with a removable bang flag by the Joker. And then, of course, the deep scar, the one that never heals. We see once again the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne by Joe Chill. However, in the news, turns out that the remaining members of the dwindling Moxon crime family were executed at Lou's restaurant in downtown Gotham by the Joker. And this segment of the book ends with 1, the criminal. Elsewhere in Gotham, Barbara Gordon is running a treadmill. The news then catches more news. A comedian by the name of Kalani Apaka was murdered by the Joker. The murder was streamed live from the victim's home. Apaka is described as an entertaining cultural activist known for his loud shrieks and louder laughter. Early in his career, he went by the name Fat Man while performing in an oversized Batman suit. And apparently, Barbara has a tendency, while at this particular gym, to break the treadmills. Afterwards, in the shower, she's washing up and having her own recollection of remembering her own scar. We see the bullet wound from the Killing Joke. And flashing back to her opening the door to find the Joker in his Hawaiian shirt with a camera hanging from his neck and a gun in his hand. After her being shot, her asking why he's doing this. And Joker then holding up a shot glass and saying, "To prove a point, here's the crime." The segment then ends with another notation, 2, the comedian. Elsewhere in Gotham, the Red Hood is beating up a bunch of the Joker's goons and remembering what the Joker did to him, which actually does cause him to lose concentration and almost get ganged up on by the thugs, but he does manage to take them down. With the this segment ending with the notation 3, the clown. At Ace Chemicals, Gotham PD had found three people, each one dressed up like the Red Hood. The Joker, the version of the Red Hood that became the Joker, as best as anyone knows, and the people underneath the masks had their skin bleached and their faces stuck in hideous grins that won't go away. Batman investigates the scene, though turns out all three of these crimes took place at the same time. Bullock wonders aloud, which one was the real Joker, which one was the fake Joker. Explained that the three victims were to represent the three men who were here that night. Batman then adds that Joker's either giving them a clue or trying to distract them. Explaining that they're focused on the three men, not instead of the stolen truck. So Batgirl's on the scene as well. There's apparently an empty vat, and it just so happens that where Batgirl is perched is the same spot where the Joker fell into a vat of chemicals. The vat, of course, the current vat though, is empty, and a tanker truck is missing. However, we learn that one of the victims is not yet dead. Batman and Batgirl begin to escort him to Arkham. However, the man is attacked in the ambulance by the Red Hood masquerading as an orderly. Batman bursts into the ambulance to figure out what's going on, while Batgirl tries to stop things. Meanwhile, across town, the tanker truck goes by, making a point of hitting a raccoon in the road, before turning down into a wooded drive, walking to a cabin. The driver is, of course, the Joker. However, waiting for the Joker at the cabin is the Joker. Back with the surviving victim, Batman has administered an antidote that nullifies Joker toxin, giving the victim a second dose, while Batgirl and Red Hood argue about what's going on, with Red Hood explaining that the man he was interrogating has a rap sheet that includes domestic assault against his own kid. Batman then goes to talk to Jason, though doesn't give him the lecture that Jason expects. And they pretty much just said, okay, we should probably join forces here. Back with the Jokers, well, the third one makes his appearance. The plan to try to make a better Joker. Two of them go off together while another stays behind. Meanwhile, Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood end up at the Gotham Aquarium. Apparently there was the water main at the aquarium failed a few days ago. Red Hood mentions that one of the Joker's thugs that he was fighting had a wrench with traces of seawater. As it was clean, he figured that it didn't come from the harbor. And was it hard to link it to the aquarium or conclude that that thug was responsible for the plumbing problem in the first place? And Batman, remarked it was good work. Upon entering the aquarium, turns out that at least some of the fish on display have already been exposed to Joker chemicals, making them into the smiling fish of the classic story. Including, I might add, a friggin' shark. However, Red Hood's helmet notes that multiple security doors are opening across the facility and they've got company coming. Company led by Gaggy, former accomplice of the Joker, briefly referred to as being Joker's court jester. So, of course, the trio battles Joker or Gaggy and his goons. And as there are guns present, some of the stray bullets hit the aquarium glass, with Red Hood firing the final one that ends up freeing the shark, who makes a quick meal out of Gaggy. However, Joker is there and makes a quick attack, throwing some Jokerized piranhas at the trio. However, they manage to subdue him. However, Gordon contacts Batman, explaining that, first off, Batman explains they've captured one of the Jokers, and Gordon explains that they think they've got the other one cornered. Batman tells Batgirl and Red Hood he's going to pick up another Joker, and has the two of them secure the one they've got and wait for Arkham transport, and of course be sure to search him. After having done so, finding the razor-edged cards, acid spraying flour, well, some opinions are made. The fact that he sounds like the Joker, he looks a little different from last time, thinner. They never know his real name or where he came from, so they never really know if it's him or not. And Red Hood goes on to ask, there's always been more than one. And they decide to continue searching and make sure there are no more traps. And Joker explains that he's the trap. The loop-de-loop, the hamster wheel of doom, the cycle of pain each one of them is trapped in. And he says, take Red Hood here, for example. With Jake, Joker kind of wonder, ever wondered why Red Hood uses the former identity of his own killer. And the Red Hood says he does it because he's owning what was done to him. And Red Hood draws one of his guns, though Batgirl tells him to put it down. But Red Hood states that Joker's right. Nothing will change until they break the cycle. And Joker says that apparently while he was beating Jason with a crowbar, Jason tried to bargain with him. Even going as far as say he would be Joker's Robin. Joker laughs and says, just look at you now. Shooting up people and making Batman's life miserable. You are my Robin. And Batgirl realizes that Red Hood's not going to put the gun down. She throws a batarang, hits the gun. It does hit the gun, but doesn't stop. It bounces off of one of Red Hood's fingers, and it does hit the gun, but not still leaving Red Hood enough to fire, putting a bullet through the Joker's head. She, of course, lays into him, asking what he did, and Red Hood says that he ended it. Even, saying, hey, you can't tell me you didn't want this after everything Joker did to Batgirl. But she didn't want that, though Red Hood's not so sure. When's the last time Batgirl missed with a batarang? And she walks away, and Red Hood stands there over Joker's corpse, saying that he hopes it's the right one. And that's where book 1 ends. Hell of a kickoff. Which brings us to our final book of the week, The Question: The Deaths of Vic Sage. Book 4. Where we left off, The Question had been on at least potentially, been on a trip through Hub City's past. Each time dealing with an ancient evil. The same ancient evil. An ancient evil that is still active in Hub City to this day. Meanwhile, in the present, things have gotten really bad. And so, the Question wades into his city. Protests going on. An innocent man was killed by police that night. Things aren't, yeah. The mayor has yet to say anything. Two of Vic's acquaintances, Wesley and Myra, who are also brother and sister, are trying to get the mayor to get out in front of this and condemn what's happened. When the mayor reveals himself to be that ancient evil that Vic's been fighting. At the home of Question's friend Todd, Question shows up. But he needs help. They have a rather heated conversation. And Todd refuses to believe that there's some supernatural evil causing all this. It's real problems and real people. Corruption, hatred, fear, and racism. That's the problem. There is no devil. Though Question does bring up the question, what if they're one and the same? But before Tot helps Question, he wants something in return. He wants Question to go on air as Vic Sage. Do what he can to calm everything down. Turns out that what Vic needs is a bomb. And also Vic agrees to Tot's terms. So, I'll just read what it is that Vic says. Hub City. I grew up here, in an orphanage. I had no idea who my parents were. I had no idea who my people were. So Hub City became my people. And time again, Hub City breaks my heart. It tears itself apart. It wants to kill itself. But we can't let it. Hub City is all of us, and we can't let the actions of one racist cop, one incompetent, hate-filled mayor take that from us. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Vic, it's not just one cop, it's not just one mayor. Men like them have always been here. They will always be here. There's no point. Let's just burn it all down. And here's the thing. You're right. Men like Furman have always been in control. And maybe, unless we do something, they always will be. But turning on one another is just what they want. We tear each other apart, and they stay in power and pick up the pieces, politicizing it however they want. We can't stop fighting. We can't stop calling out injustice and hate. When we stop, they win again. So what are we to do? We fight and they win. We give up and they win. But maybe there is another way. Maybe there is a way to go right to the heart of this evil. We are Hub City, and it's time to set ourselves free. Maybe I'm just the man to do it. As he says this, he activates his mask, the gas that forms his mask, and he continues, no more hiding, no more cowering in fear. It's time to be who we really are. The Question says on television. We then cut to the Question running across rooftops, and basically, that's it. There's no going back. So he goes to the lair in which he's always faced the ancient evil, and the other is during his trip his trips through time, and he drops the bomb in there, blowing the building up and destroying the lair. We then get a flashback to Vic's childhood in the orphanage. A priest came to visit him, and this priest was that ancient evil. Apparently, the two had met before. And the priest told them that they would meet again. The priest just wants to make sure that Vic knows, however, that Vic is nothing. Never will be anything. And as the priest leaves, he shows young Vic, his true face. In the present, things are going poorly things are getting worse in the mayor's office as the protests gain steam. The mayor punches Myra in the face after she spits in his. Wesley's told to shut up, and while the mayor then tells his goons to be ready for Question's arrival. Things aren't looking, and as riot cops prepare to deal with the citizens of Hub City, the Question pops up. Yeah, posing a question of his own. What do bullies hate? The answer, when we hit back. And taking the nightsticks from two of the cops, he goes after a bunch of them. So there's just one left. Explains that he saw Question on TV. And adding, it's nice to know there are a few good people left around here. As he goes into the city hall, Question asks that one cop do what he can to try to keep as many of the people, the protesters there, safe as he can. Vic then ends up in a quick and brutal fight with the mayor's bodyguards, which he promptly wins before making it to the mayor's office. where he finds Wesley and Myra. Wesley holding a gun on him. And then, as Wesley cocks to question, he turns the gun on himself and pulls the trigger. Another riot cop shows up, but it's the mayor in disguise. He's mad that Vic destroyed his power. Vic and the evil duke it out. Then Myra shoots him in the back of the head. Later on, Tot comes to see Vic and asks what he did. Vic says he ended evil. However, nothing's changed. The cops and the Protectors are still fighting. And sure, Myra shot the evil in the head. That didn't kill it. Maybe it slowed it down for a while. But Vic says to Top that he knows exactly who he is and what he is. And he's the question. And someone is going to answer as he runs off into the night. And the series comes to its conclusion. And that's it for this week's Comic Book Roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.